Brittany.
Happy Emancipation Day to Jamaica. Woo! It's something to celebrate.
Yes.
Emancipate yourself from mental slavery.
That is the issue we face today.
Yes.
Still.
So the buzz of the week is that Jamaica's High Court actually ruled that schools are allowed to ban dreadlocks. Let me say that again. Schools are allowed to ban kids from wearing dreadlocks in 2020, okay? This is not okay. It's not okay. So on July 31st, 2020, Jamaica's High Court ruled that a primary school, was within its right to ban a child from attending school due to her dreadlocks. And I have to point out, this child was 5 years old. This is a baby, 5 years old, okay? And the school won.
They wanted to shave her head,
to get rid of her dreadlocks, because we all know dreadlocks are permanent and the only way to get rid of them is
if you cut it from the roots.
Right.
Yeah.
This is what's happening in Jamaica. The day before Emancipation. How ironic. This touches on the issue of identity and the very popular religion of Rastafarianism in Jamaica. So I know a lot of you guys may or may not know what Rastafarianism is. I've met a couple of people who actually doesn't know.
A lot of people that don't come from Jamaica don't even realize that it's a whole religion.
Right. So Rastafarianism is a religion that started in Jamaica in 1930s. It is a religious movement and also a political movement that originated in Jamaica. And it became popular from the famous Bob Marley. Well, it became popular to the world because Bob Marley was a part of this religion and he was very popular. So he made this religion known worldwide.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of people did not realize that this was not only a fashion statement or a political movement, but it's also a religious movement too. Rastafarianism is easily identified by the obvious hair, but they practice a lot of rituals in this religion that a lot of people might not know. So they do eat a very ital diet, so some very natural vegetarian type of diet. They do smoke ganja or marijuana, and this is said to allow them to have better meditation with Jah, which is God. They also have ceremonies where they beat drums to communicate with God, Jah, and meditate. They do meditate a lot. And they also have a lot of biblical references that they use in their religion. It's very selective though, because there's parts of the Bible that they do not necessarily believe in, and then there's parts that they do believe in. So they use the Christian Bible a lot in their religion also. And then they wear locks. So dreadlocks itself, the history on this you can find as early back to ancient Egypt, where mummified remains of Egyptians were found with dreadlocks. Alright guys, so this is not just something that's current, it has been around from
years.
Before time, yeah.
But we can date it now to the Rastafarianism, which was born in the 1930s when Rastafari was crowned Emperor of Ethiopia. And he was forced into exile, and his warriors vowed that they would not cut their hair until he was reinstated as Emperor of Ethiopia. So this is, we can see where the history and the beliefs is coming from.
Yeah. And it obviously was significant to these people, like the pride of them here. Like it's obviously very significant to this group of people, right?
This religion, right? So the locks itself is matted hair, right guys? So it's hair, when we as black people, when we don't comb our hair, it actually gets matted. And people of this faith wear it in different ways. Some don't actually part it at all into sections. Some just leave it as like my hair and just don't comb it at all, and it becomes matted. Some actually section it into different sections. And that's where the locks, the dreadlocks comes
right in. You'll have some dreadlocks that will look like braids, like evenly parted, and then you have some people
like
who
this.
most black people, not most, all black people, our hair is different. So once you leave it without detangling it for a while, it will clump together on its own. And that's pretty much how the locks are
even if it's washed, even
Yeah.
when it's washed and kept, as long as you don't comb it through, it can become matted together
and just kind of like
stay as one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So today, dreadlocks is worn by the black community for many different reasons, right? Even outside of the black community, some people do wear dreadlocks. It's directly representing their culture or their religious beliefs.
And as black people too, most of our hairstyles have history. So we're just giving it a history of the dreadlocks particularly, but we all know that black people do face stigma for different protective styles, for braids, for cornrows, and they all have history. So this is just one of the many protective styles or styles that black people do with our natural hair that causes people to be uncomfortable for some strange reason. Like, all right guys, so now we're gonna just jump in and tell you guys how we feel about this topic, how we feel about Jamaica allowing the school system to discriminate pretty much kids based on how they wear their hair.
And again, that's discrimination. If you're saying my daughter's hair is going to be stink and lacy versus a next person who has natural hair. You understand? If you're going to sit here and believe that my child here is more at risk of getting lice? Really?
Miss, I'm speaking.
Don't tell me from experience. Do not tell me from experience.
You're talking to a principal of 18 years of the school.
Right now.
You're talking to a principal with 35 years teaching.
Please stay with us because this kind of make me really irritated and it kind of hard to get the points out, honestly. Like, just to know that we're dealing with this in 2020 irritates me. So
It's like we're moving backward.
yeah, instead of
we're not progressing.
So if you guys know any points that we missed out, please comment down below. I know this topic is very complex and there's a lot to it, but we're gonna just cover a few points that stand out to us and a few of the reasons why I am against it. I know I am against it. Are you against it?
Yes, I am against it too.
Like, this is a no-no, alright? So the first thing that stand out to me, and we all know we're in 2020, this is the year of certain movements. Like, black people are now speaking out about injustice. We're seeing changes happening all around the world with the issues that we face, right? And Jamaica, being a predominantly black country, black island society, it's crazy to know that it feels like this is a move backwards versus forward, because in the States, in 2019, the state actually, California was the first state to ban hair discrimination, and there's a couple states that's following suit this year because they're recognizing that discriminating black people based on how your hair naturally grows out of your head is wrong. Most of these states are actually banning discrimination in the workplace and in schools for hairstyles such as braids, twists, and dreadlocks. So for Jamaica to be actually discriminating kids,
for a society that actually has the knowledge,
Yeah.
or understands or should know the history,
and such a
of
rich
where
tie,
this-
like
yeah.
Rastafarianism was originated in Jamaica, so we should be one step ahead of the game. We shouldn't be making a step backwards. When in the States and different countries, they have obviously a higher black people would be the minority. So you would kind of see, even though we really don't, but you kind of see why they wouldn't understand certain things and the injustice.
Excuse some ignorance to some
Right.
extent.
But when you have a whole island filled with black people who understand that how black hair functions, and then you're gonna discriminate each other based on how our hair naturally grows, it does not make sense.
I feel like it's coming from when back in the day when we were colonialized, so we were under the English rule, and Rastafarians were really vocal against this, right? So they were for independence, you know, emancipation, all those things, right? And because the government saw them as this group of people that were against them, you know, even after independence, even after we're, you know, free from their rule, it's like their mistrust of these people, of people with dreadlocks or of Rastafarians still lingers after that time where, you know, it should be, you know, we're progressing. Even one of our ministers, Damien Crawford, right? He, in government, he was told that, you know, if you trim your locks, you will move up quicker or faster. Like, come on, guys, why? Just because of his hair?
Yeah, and this is natural hair. We need to emphasize that this is how black people's natural hair functions. This is not somebody manipulating their hair to make it look a certain type of way. This is how we were made. You know, so like,
so
actually,
we're not to be yourself, basically.
Like, all right, so particularly this case that was presented to the court, Carl Samuda, which is the Minister of Education, he said that schools are able to ban kids with certain hairstyles if it's not neat or considered neat. And we all know that black people, oftentimes where it's said that our hair is seen as unprofessional, unkept, in the certain hairstyles that we do wear, that is usually our natural hair texture or hairstyles, right? Like that. Something like this might be considered as unprofessional, and this is her unkept. Yeah. So we need to, Jamaica, please wake up. But most of these rules are what's considered neat or unprofessional was based on a Eurocentric model, like white people's hair, straight hair. Black people's hair is not straight. But that doesn't mean, that should not equate to it being unkept or not neat. Like, and that's a harsh generalization. That's definitely a generalization. Like, what is neat hair? Like, how are we gonna define a child hair being neat or not? Because somebody might see Britts' hair and say this is not neat.
Like, I need to comb my hair.
Right, and this is her hairstyle. We need to realize that thought of hair being neat and professional is based on straight hair, and we must acknowledge the fact that black people hair texture is different.
It's completely different from a white person's hair.
Right? So we cannot categorize ourselves or make one broad umbrella of what neat hair should be if our hair is different.
To look like their hair.
We shouldn't. Like, we have to accept the uniqueness of everybody. So white people have their kind of hair, we have our kind of hair, and we have to just embrace the uniqueness that we do have.
And
like,
it's all beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, this is how God made us.
And he did it deliberately. So we need to embrace our hairs.
Yeah. And imagine that poor 5-year-old, like, this little baby don't even understand why she has to trim her hair.
And why so much attention.
Yeah.
Like she's 5.
Why is she getting so much attention for her?
For her hair being in its natural state or a particular hairstyle. They said it related to hygiene, but I don't think you need to trim off or remove your whole hair. Hygiene and hairstyle is 2 different things. So I don't know. I feel like they're really stretching the truth there. Alright, and the next thing that I want to point out that really irritates me about the society in Jamaica and how it's still working right now is the fact that I feel like we should not penalize kids and minors for their appearance. I feel like the main aim of the school system is to educate and try to teach and mold our kids, and I feel like we focus a lot on appearance and things that the kids cannot control, like how the kids dress or the hairstyles or what kind of shoes or what kind of this. And I just feel like that's not even, like the kids, most of the time the kids getting penalized, like losing the chance to attend classes, being kicked out of school, missing an opportunity on education based on what their parents are able to provide or what the parents believe in. And I feel like it's really unfair to kids. You know, I know we're colonial, we have a colonial background, and it is very strict, and the English ruling, it has a very, you know, structured way. But I do feel like we need to find that middle ground and realize, like, like, we have to realize that minors don't really have that much say so on the things that they have or the things that, like the way how they look. Like, they're not working, they're not financially or you know, like they're not in a position to like control. Yeah, you guys are pretty much penalizing the kids for whatever the parents is able or not able to, or believes. And at the end of the day, it should boil down to their education being the #1 priority. So, you know, giving them detention or suspension or not allowing them to have the privilege of education, to me really affects me. Like, it's not in the side of the world, it's not heavily focused on that. It's mostly focused on academics, which I feel like we're kind of being too strict, and we need to put more emphasis on actually educating people. Like when I was in Jamaica, like the shoes shouldn't have this, the belt buckle shouldn't have this, the hair, your uniform.
Black.
Yeah, like
nothing. Yes, and I know that because this is such a complex topic, you know, we only have a certain amount of time to discuss this. I know that we'll probably miss out some points that you guys would have loved to hear. So please, this is now where we're encouraging you to comment below so that we can continue this conversation.
Yes. Comment, share this video, share the video, watch the ads. I'm gonna insert the ad right here. It's just 2 ads right here, and I want you guys to watch the ads. Like, that's the only way we get paid.
Thanks.
Thank you in advance. Alright guys, so we came to the end of our video, and as this story is developing, we'll have more highlights and more things that we'll want to talk about, so look forward for part 2. This story is also very personal to me because I do have family members who live in Jamaica who wear dreadlocks, and I'll be featuring my auntie who will be speaking on the issues they're facing and how they're feeling in the part 2. So look forward for part 2. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Bye guys.